President Biden back in Washington today after his trip to Mexico for the Three Amigos summit and his trip to El Paso, Texas to visit the border. Mr. Biden claimed there is a bipartisan desire to solve the crisis at the southern border, and then he blamed Republicans for not raising legislation to combat the crisis.
The president of Mexico also thanked the president for stopping construction on the border wall. Our next guest is the wife of a Border Patrol agent and the president of the Border Security Coalition, Irene Armendariz-Jackson. She's joining us now to discuss what she has experienced. Irene, great to have you with us. Always helpful, I think, to hear what's going on from someone who is living it firsthand. Do you think that President Biden saw an accurate representation of what's happening at the border during his recent visit?
Oh, absolutely not. They went to sanitized locations, and even though there's still people sleeping on the streets by the hundreds, and it's very cold here in El Paso, and, you know, I'm sorry that they're suffering, but they made the choice to come into my home, my country, illegally. The pictures that you're actually showing on the opposite side, on the Mexican side, there was tents full of people waiting to cross over. And when he was there, and as of right now, there's nothing there. We have it from a great source that all those people were loaded up into planes and flown to the south of Mexico. And having deep ties into Mexico, a lot of my family still in Mexico, and my parents still coming back and forth. I really do take great offense to AMLO actually supporting Biden. Let's not forget that on election night, he was one of the ones that raised the flag as to the integrity of the elections here in the U.S.
Yeah, good point. What is the feeling of the people of El Paso? What is the feeling along the border? Obviously, it's become a porous border, and these people go throughout the United States, but very densely congregated also around that neighborhood, around that city.
Well, just to give you a picture of what's going on in the area where I was just telling you about, where there's still hundreds of illegals. Imagine your house, and you go out your front door and there's hundreds of people just sleeping, lying around, doing nothing. Actually, there was some cases where there's been some selling of drugs, and they're all at the door of American citizens. This particular area that you're showing was one of the places that was completely sanitized. When I heard that Biden was coming, I rushed down there, and by that time, they had the piles of, like what you see right there, of clothes and trash, and they were cleaning it up. There was no more illegals, no more people there. But then they brought in the fire department and the El Paso Police Department and some Border Patrol to clean up the mess. Imagine the tragedy, the message it sends. Our law enforcement, our American citizens cleaning up after the illegals who have come into our country without any regard for our laws and American safety.
Irene, your husband, as we mentioned, is a Border Patrol agent. Give us a little insight on what his day-to-day is like throughout as we're experiencing this border crisis.
Well, he retired. Thank God he retired.
I bet you're happy about that.
So he's not there anymore. But we get intel. All our intel comes from fellow Border Patrol agents, and there is such a low morale in the agency. I saw the advertisements where they're giving incentives if they actually people sign up to go to the Border Patrol Academy. Who would want to when your own government is coming against you? And that's something very indicative and a pattern of the Biden administration to come against American citizens. And so every day it changes. When we mention Title 42, every day it applies to somebody different, a different nationality. One day it applies to Cubans, one day it applies to Venezuelans, Haitians, Mexicans. It's all over the place. And I just want to remind the American public that we have laws in order to protect Americans. And our immigration system is good. It has a purpose, and that's to keep illegals out of our country especially without being vetted. And so remember that everything that they come in contact, our Border Patrol agents, they take it home. We have close friends
Right.
of ours where he lost his life to COVID and he got it at the border, one of our
Wow.
Border Patrol agents. It has to stop. But we need, as a people, we need to stand up and say enough is enough. Go to bordersecuritycoalition.com, sign up and get updates. We're fighting the good fight, not only for
Right.
the border, but for America. But we need America's support.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Irene Armendariz-Jackson, really appreciate your insight. Thanks so much.
Thank you. God bless you.